Hey basketball fans, Harrison Graham here for today's show. Before we get into it, subscribe to the channel because here on Chat Sports, our NBA coverage is ramping up. We have the latest news, rumors, we plan to do some watch parties for the NBA Finals, and a whole lot more coming up as we get closer and closer to the full offseason. And speaking of which, Damian Lillard trade ideas, that's the topic of today's video. You're watching NBA Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. So Damian Lillard trade rumors have been circulating, so I thought, I'm going to come up with 6 trade ideas around the all-star point guard from Portland. Little background, though, first, as we talk about the superstar that is Damian Lillard. As I mentioned, those trade rumors have been circulating the last couple of weeks, ever since Portland lost in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And now, the thing about Dame is he's a rare breed. He's been very, very loyal to the Portland Trailblazers, but there's been some hints that maybe that loyalty is running out. For one, Terry Stotts got fired. I think Lillard wanted a new direction in Portland, but he wanted Jason Kidd. He's pulled his name out of the hat of that job. Also, Lillard had a couple of cryptic posts on Instagram. Maybe, just maybe, the Blazers will entertain trading their all-star point guard. Now, we do have trade odds that have been released out of Vegas if he were to get traded. The Knicks are actually the favorites at plus 250 odds to land Damian Lillard. Clippers at plus 275. The Heat are at plus 300 as well. You've also got the Lakers at plus 250, Sixers at plus 375, and the Celtics at plus 300. 6 teams with decent odds to land Damian Lillard. So I've got a trade idea around each of these 6 teams to get the all-star point guard. What will Portland do with Damian Lillard this offseason? Type T if you think they're going to trade him. Type K if you think they're going to keep him. I'd like to see them keep him and build around him, but I could be juicy if he got into a bigger market as well. Get your votes in, T for trade or K for keep. So trade idea number 1 when it comes to Damian Lillard. Let's look at this one when it comes to the New York Knicks. Now, 3 first-round picks, R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, and Kevin Knox would go to Portland in return for Damian Lillard. Now, you see that note at the bottom, 2021 and 2023, those are the Mavs picks that the Knicks have from the Kristaps Porzingis trade. So, yeah, the Knicks would be trading 3 firsts over the next 3 seasons, but 2 of those are extra picks that they got from Dallas when they traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Mavericks. So keep that in mind as well when it comes to this package. And for Portland, you would get 3 first-round picks. And for Dame himself, Damian Lillard in the Garden, that would be electric, folks. Again, I would love to see Lillard win a championship with Portland. I think it's a good thing for the NBA when these smaller markets have success. And the Blazers have had some, but they haven't had a ton, and they've had too many first-round exits in recent years. You put Damian Lillard in the Big Apple, that's a very, very exciting proposition if you ask me. Say it with your chest. Where would you want Dame to play next? What team would you like to see him play on in the future in the NBA? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. I think the Knicks would be a lot of fun. I think a couple of other teams we're going to get to on this video would be interesting as well. Name a team down in the comments you would like to see Lillard play for next season. Idea number 2, the Clippers. They were in the betting odds as well. They get Damian Lillard, and I think if they were going to get him, I think Paul George has to be included. All these trades were calculated in the ESPN trade machine to make the salaries work and all of that good stuff with the salary cap. I don't think the Clippers can realistically make it work without Paul George because, A, they don't have a lot of first-round picks, which is why I had to do 2027. They can't trade one until then. And then I threw in Terrence Mann as well, nice young rotation piece. So you compare the two. You're thinking, okay, is it worth trading Paul George to get Damian Lillard? I say yes for a couple of reasons. One, Damian Lillard, better offensive player. There's no doubt about that. And I think he's got the clutch gene where Paul George kind of hit and miss in that area. He has some in the past, but in recent years hasn't been as clutch of a player. Number 2 reason why is assuming Kawhi Leonard stays with the Clippers, him and PG are very similar players. Kawhi's just better. They're both great two-way players. I think if you had Lillard, it would give you a different blend, especially offensively within this Clippers offense. So I say yes, that Lillard would be a better fit and a better player, especially on this Clippers team. So who you got? Who do you guys think is the better player? Type DL for Damian Lillard, type PG for Paul George. What do you guys think down in the comments? Go ahead and let me know. I think it's Lillard, but maybe you think it's PG. Go ahead and get your votes in. Trade idea number 3, this one's around the Miami Heat. They would get Damian Lillard, and like some of these other teams, not a lot of first-round pick capital. I threw a 2025 first-round pick, but good young talent. Bam Adebayo, think he has to be included. Just signed that 5-year max. Tyler Hero and Precious Achiuwa, 3 young rotation players, 2 first surefire starters in Adebayo and Hero. And obviously Bam would be the focal point of this trade for Portland, as they would get a nice young player in return. Really good season last year for Miami. 19 points, 9 rebounds, had a block per game as well. Really good field goal percentage. He's also improved as a kind of a point forward. I think he averaged 4 or 5 assists per game as well for the Miami Heat. I think that would be a nice young piece in return for Damian Lillard if the Blazers traded him to the Miami Heat. Quick reminder, I want to tell you guys, encourage you guys to subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. No one works harder and puts out more videos on the internet than we do when it comes to NBA and NFL coverage. We do it all here at Chat Sports. Daily videos, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Don't miss any of our coverage. And guys, the NBA offseason, it's going to be electric. Hopefully a lot of trades happen. If they do, we'll cover it here on this channel. Trade idea number 4, Damian Lillard to the Lakers, and a lot of moving parts here. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Talen Horton-Tucker, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and 2 first-round picks in 2025 and in 2027. Again, they can trade first, but not for the next few years because of the Anthony Davis trade. And speaking of Anthony Davis, I don't think the Lakers want to trade for Lillard if that means they have to part with AD. If you're LA, you're thinking, I'm looking at the Brooklyn Nets. They've got their big 3 of Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. I'm trying to counter that with Damian Lillard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That is what my approach would be. I think that would be the Lakers' approach as well. If they have to part with AD, yeah, Lillard's a better player than AD in my opinion, but you're not like getting drastically better there. You're slightly getting better in my opinion, and you're probably getting worse defensively, so keep that in mind as well. Would you trade Anthony Davis for Damian Lillard? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'd like to keep those two together. What it does is 2 things. 1, it gives you a better chance to win in the near term, and 2, you've got a duo together moving forward, as both those guys are young enough to play for quite a long time once LeBron James retires. So get your votes in. Would you trade AD for Damian Lillard? Couple more here. Trade idea number 5. This one around the 76ers. Damian Lillard to the Sixers from Portland in return for Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey. I think Simmons has to be included if the Sixers are going to get in play here. But he's a really good player, which is why I don't think picks are required. Tyrese Maxey, first-round pick last year, nice young player. So I think that's a fair trade for both parties involved. Obviously, Simmons hasn't become the outside shooter that many of us basketball fans had hoped, but this is still a great two-way player. Good floor general. He can dish. He can score around the basket. He rebounds. He's an excellent defender. Had a good argument to be the defensive player of the year this year. It happened to go to Gobert, but I thought Simmons had a really good argument as well. For the Sixers side of this, Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid, who was stopping that pick and roll, pick and pop game? Like, they would combine to average 60 a game. That would be an unbelievable duo if the 76ers could pull it off. I like Ben Simmons, but if you can get Damian Lillard with Joel Embiid, that is unbelievable if you ask me. I think that would be a lethal combination. Then my last trade idea here, remember, Celtics were in the trade odds here, but I did a 3-team trade for this one. Wanted to spice things up a little bit, and the money all works here, so you can trust my word on that one. Damian Lillard, Dwight Powell go to Boston. The Blazers get Kemba Walker, Josh Richardson, and 3 first-round picks. The 2021 and 2023 come from Boston. 25 would be coming from the Mavericks there. 3 first in total, 2 from Boston, 1 from Dallas. The Mavericks would get Marcus Smart from the Celtics, Yusuf Nurkic from the Blazers, and a 2022 second-round pick from Boston. In this scenario, this is clearly the Blazers' approach is, all right, we're tanking. Let's just tank. They probably trade C.J. McCollum in a separate trade as well. I think this would be a lot of fun. I think 3-team trades are a good time. We saw the 4-team trade with James Harden earlier this year, so we know it's definitely possible. And Damian Lillard's on the move. You pair him up with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in Boston, hey, score all the points, baby. That would be a whole lot of fun. All right, we're going to sign off here in just a second, but I want you to predict it for me before we do that. Type POR if you think he'll stay with the Blazers for next season. Type O if you think he's getting traded to another team. And again, go above and beyond. Let us know which team you think that'll be. It's going to be a fun offseason. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you very, very soon here on Chat Sports.